in a timely way, here's what has grabbed my attention that I think we have a mutual interest. And that is when the vice chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Senator Mark Warner, comes out and writes a piece that he's afraid, he wrote it in the New York Times, Trump is trying to override our voting system. You think right now Warner would be focused on things like, the threat from Iran. But you know what he said in this piece? It's not the foreign intelligence threat to our elections that's most pressing right now. It's inside our government. And he says, and he said it on Rachel Maddow recently, he believes that there is a circulating right now amongst the Trump network a draft executive order to fabricate an emergency that allows us to say, hey, we got problems with elections. 2020 involved some fake foreign interference that we're making up. And we're going to declare an emergency that impacts our election. Maya, what's going on with election security, election suppression, voter suppression, and what's your outfit doing about it?
Woo. Well, how much time we've got? Let's just start with the basics. Every voter has a right to vote, and our states' systems are never perfect, but our states do a great job of checking and making sure that its citizens who are lawfully allowed to vote. And that's so important to say right now, because what the Trump administration and Donald Trump have been doing really since very aggressively, even before 2020, but certainly super aggressively after 2020, is trying to make us fear our own system of elections and to fear people of color in particular participating in those elections, and to use that as a way to make it harder for voters to vote. And it's going to hurt voters of color in particular, but it's going to hurt voters of all races. It's going to hurt the young, the elderly, people with disabilities who come in every community, or people who just work 2-3 jobs and would love to have mail-in balloting because they don't have to skip a paycheck to go to the lines and vote. So I'm saying this because what we're seeing literally is Donald Trump turning the federal government into a weapon against our voting rights, against voters' ability to get to the polls. And they're doing it in several ways and through several agencies. And I think you and I will both note how bringing in the Department of Homeland Security in ways like in Fulton County, Georgia, which is 44% Black, which is where, of course, Fani Willis started a criminal investigation and indictment of Donald Trump for interfering in the election in 2020 with a lot of very strong evidence, and where they're still concerned about voters just turning out, showing up and voting for who they want to vote for, and literally going back to 2020 and trying to steal those ballots. I don't have another word for it, but stealing those ballots. Federal government doesn't really have a right to them. And as we already know, they literally use conspiracy theories rather than evidence to get a judge to sign a warrant so they could go take those ballots. The only reason they're doing that is because they're trying to sow seeds of fear that tells Americans to turn the other way and ignore what they're doing to actually stop us from being able to go to the polls. And they're particularly interested in where they think voters who look like me, who may not vote for them, may be showing up. So what are we doing about it?
Yeah.
I think this is the point, is number one, and I think we'll talk about this a little later, but when you think about the No Kings rally, those are organizations, groups, leaders, and regular ordinary citizens who are showing up to say, this is our democracy. It's a multiracial democracy. We're proud of it. And we're going to make sure we have power to act within it. And that includes voting. And we're going to support everybody's ability to vote. And that means everything from our litigating organizations in our coalition, the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, fought for and won the Voting Rights Act. Has fought for, frankly, every community's rights to be respected. But we've got litigating groups that are suing on these attacks on the ability of voters to vote. But we're also making sure that we're supporting voters understanding their rights to vote. And we're making sure they understand their power to vote no matter what. and how to navigate it if anyone comes to try to challenge their ability to vote. Because this is the thing, it's just trying to block voters from voting. And I think the other thing for people to know is we're fighting aggressively on the Hill, because time and time again, the Trump administration and even some in Congress who mostly are Republicans, got to be said. I don't say that to be partisan, because to your point, Mark Warner's piece was really important, and there are a lot of Republicans that know we should be concerned about making harder for voters to vote. But in Congress, they're literally trying to tell us that it should be easy to stop and have the federal government interfere with voters voting by telling them that data that was stolen from us, stolen by Doge, stolen by Elon Musk, not designed to understand who is a citizen and who is not, but can be used to try to force states to block us from voting, even when states already decided we could. And that is just a flat out violation of the Constitution, and we shouldn't allow it. And we're fighting that too.
Well, thank you for doing that. I think it's so important, because I've run into so many people, Maya, who really are angst-ridden. I mean, the anxiety, the panic, the feeling that something really horrible is about to happen, and we can't do anything about it. And I think what organizations like yours do is not only give people some hope, but also some context. Look, we're all in this together. There are people working very hard right now to battle this on many fronts. And as you rattled off, there are many fronts, whether it's Fulton County, whatever Tulsi Gabbard is doing or thinks she's doing, Arizona, Maricopa County, the same thing. Something similar is happening there with ballots. And then, Warner's warning is that they're going to claim an emergency because of foreign interference that didn't really happen. How much of this can Trump actually do? Remind us what the Constitution says about who sets the rules, and then who executes an election. And then the courts, and then give us your opinion whether the courts are holding or will hold on this front.
Yeah, such important questions. I want to start where you started, Frank, and just say people really do have power, and everything we do matters, even when it's the folks in a neighborhood showing up just to help get someone from their home to the poll, or just to make sure people have water or food in a long line where they're waiting for hours. Every single thing matters, and it all adds up.